and welcome to The Bottom Line on TVP World, where we bring you the best of the main business and economic stories of the day. I'm your host, Don Arleth, in for Marie Cato. Hydrogen technology has been hailed as a game changer, potentially offering a path to cleaner energy, but there are some challenges. Poland published its hydrogen strategy nearly 5 years ago, aiming to support its energy transition while achieving sustainable development goals. The roadmap also looked to strengthen the country's energy independence. So how far has Poland come on this hydrogen journey? John Todd has this report.
It's been 3 years since the Polish company Nesobus launched its first hydrogen-powered bus. Since then, they and their competitors have made inroads into local transport planning. Rzeszów, Helm, Lublin, Rybnik, Konin, Poznan and Wałbrzych are either operating or have ordered hydrogen buses. While the exact number of hydrogen buses on Poland's roads is difficult to pin down, one manufacturer, Solaris, estimates that around 70 of its Urbino hydrogen vehicles are powering passengers around the country. Using hydrogen as a fuel produces no pollution, just water vapor and electrical energy used to power the motors. Experts say there are many benefits to using hydrogen.
The strategy is seeking efficient fuel of efficient energy carrier, and also which will be friendly for our life and will be friendly for the environment.
The 2021 Polish hydrogen strategy explored how this technology can be developed into a so-called hydrogen economy, offering industries and businesses ways to help reduce emissions. The roadmap identifies the development of a network of filling stations, such as this one recently opened by Orlen, the Polish energy giant, offering hydrogen at the pump. Officials said hydrogen bus networks have become a catalyst.
We building and selecting the location for hydrogen filling station in place where the client exists, so the municipal transport is the perfect example of this approach.
Orlen has also begun cooperation with PESA, a Polish rolling stock manufacturer, seeing huge potential in powering rail transport with hydrogen.
In Poland, half of trains are not electrified, so this is the solution for this part of, let's say, trains utilization.
Hydrogen technology can act as an energy battery, storing surplus wind or solar power. It can also provide energy independence.
So when you observe the history of the world, so you have many problems, conflicts, international. So hydrogen can be safety for the countries. For instance, give independence.
But for hydrogen to count as a clean fuel, it has to be produced with renewable energy, something that Orlen is already working on. The energy giant has even invested in a Norwegian company, Hystar, which manufactures electrolyzers, machines used to produce so-called green hydrogen. Analysts said Poland's step-by-step approach to adopting hydrogen is working. Efforts like these are essential if challenges such as high costs and a lack of infrastructure are to be overcome.
Right now, hydrogen seems to be a bit on the downslide. Stellantis, car manufacturer which owns such brands as Jeep and Fiat, recently canceled plans to assemble hydrogen-powered delivery trucks here in Poland, citing problems with the technology. But maybe other forms of transportation are still in the cards. Joining me now to unlock the potential for hydrogen to provide cleaner energy to power our economy is Grzegorz Tchorek, Deputy Director at the Institute of Power Engineering. Well, hello there, and thank you very much for joining us on The Bottom Line.
Hello, thank you for the invitation.
Yes, so in your opinion, which sectors within transportation do you see the brightest future for here in Poland?
It's a difficult question to answer when we talk about future, yes, because the hydrogen is a very magic technology, we can say. It gives us zero emission, zero pollution, but some challenges, a lot of challenges. So generally in the future, probably the transportation and mobility won't consume large part of the hydrogen which will be produced in the economy. But nowadays we can say that in the automotive industry, in the mobility, in transportation, those solutions are quite sophisticated. Yes, because when you look even on Polish market, you could be surprised because we have 100 buses, hydrogen electric buses in Polish cities, and we have more than around 600 cars registered in Poland driving on Polish roads. So we can say that the market is very small because we are at the beginning, but it exists and it is developing. And historically we can see that a lot of solutions which were invented in the automotive industry, they were also used in other sectors. So at the end, in the next 2-3 decades, hydrogen probably will develop much more than now. Transportation will be only a small part of it. But now it is at the front of the technology development. So I think that the most accurate way is to use buses in our cities, because we suffer from congestion and smog. So it is good segment to develop hydrogen economy, and it also demands the refueling stations. So when we build refueling station, we can use it not only for buses but also for cars. So it is also segment which for me it has also the future, because the transportation sector is the most difficult to decarbonize. You can do it in 2 ways. You can use battery electric vehicles, and you can use also hydrogen. So it is difficult to decarbonize because you can imagine millions of cars, yes, which have to be fueled by some fuel. Now we use hydrocarbons, but we can use electric vehicle, battery electric vehicle, or hydrogen. Probably in the future the hydrogen will be used in heavy duty, light duty, but also in small car, I think, I hope.
Well, when we talk about hydrogen, one thing that always pops into my mind is the Hindenburg. You know, every fuel is explosive, it needs to be, right? Or we wouldn't get energy out of it. But are there safety concerns with hydrogen as it enters the economy and becomes more prevalent fuel source?
I think, of course, safety is safety first, we can say, yes, as we say in the nuclear energy. Yes, it is a first priority. But I don't think that it is the main problem. You mentioned in introduction that there are technological obstacles, there are technical issues. I do not agree with it, because technology in many solutions is quite ready, but the problem is that we should also look for the other readiness. We should look at the regulatory and legal readiness to adopt the technology. We should also look at the society acceptance for the technology. Yes, it is quite new. And we also look at the ecosystem. If it is ready to take the technology and use it in the plug and play, yes, to take one and switch to another. It costs a lot of money, and the technology, hydrogen technology, is quite sophisticated, is quite demanding. It's still expensive. So this is the problem of the scale. Yes, we are just at the beginning of the process.
And the infrastructure.
Infrastructure is critical.
Yeah,
yes,
massive undertaking. Well, we'll get to the production in just a moment. But back to more the transportation sector, and well, you see it as a primary driver here before, I guess, other heavy industries pick it up. But how do, for instance, hydrogen-powered trucks or buses, as you mentioned, compare to the battery electric ones in terms of range, refueling, time, and even the infrastructure problem?
So infrastructure problem, as we said, is the main obstacle. Is the main problem because it is expensive if you build it just for a few cars or a few buses. Yes, right. So the scale, economies of scale, is very important for us. So it is also demanding on the technical side, yes, to compose those elements in one working station. Yes, so it is a challenge. It is a challenge because we do it first time, we can say. Yes, 2 years ago, the number of hydrogen stations in Poland was 0. Now is 9. Yes, so we are 5th market in the EU when you take into account refueling stations as well the number of buses used in public transportation. The main advantage of the hydrogen is that you can refuel your car within 3-5 minutes. Yeah? Right. So you do not have to change your habits when you compare to the conventional car. Mm-hmm. So this is much more easier than in the case of electric vehicle. Yes. So even if you use supercharger, you will have to spend 20-30 minutes to do it. Yes? So in comparison to the hydrogen, it's a few times more than in the hydrogen. So the challenge related to the hydrogen and it comes to the sources of the method of production of it. Yeah, because hydrogen is not new. We use it for many decades in Poland and in Europe, around the world, in the chemical industry, in refinery. But now we want to switch the methods of production, and we expect to find to produce hydrogen from renewables. And the problem with producing hydrogen with renewables through electrolyzers is that 70% of the total cost of hydrogen production goes to the energy. So we have to have a lot of cheap or not so expensive energy to produce renewable hydrogen. This is the main issue which is behind the hydrogen economy. Yes, we are talking about technologies, solutions, technology diffusion, adaptation, but we forgot about the main fuel which is behind the hydrogen, which is energy. And without cheap and easily available energy, it is not possible to develop hydrogen economy.
Well, and currently, I think is what you're alluding to is that more energy goes in than you get out.
Yeah, the efficiency processes when it comes to the hydrogen so are weak in comparison to the other technologies. I'm not sure if it will change in the future. Probably the technology which we have now will stay with us for the next decades. But it should not be a problem when you use some solutions in scale. Yes, because we expect that the technology the prices of the technology, mainly electrolyzers, fuel cells, will decrease when you take into account the economies of scale. Yes, right. When you produce million stacks.
Right, and we've seen that with solar panels over the last 2 decades.
But it takes time.
Yeah, it takes time.
So I think that when it comes to the hydrogen, the main problem for us in our discussion and in current discussion is that we expected that it will happen within the next 3-5 years. We should look at it in decades.
Yeah, in decades still. So it's not just right around the corner, but it is here with us today.
Yes,
exactly.
with solutions.
Exactly. Well, Orlen invested in this Norwegian company Hystar, which produces electrolyzers. Is this forward thinking on their behalf to
I think
be ahead of the curve in terms of this
I think
development?
Orlen is the biggest company in Poland. We can say one of the biggest. So it has sources, financial sources to do it, but also other companies do similar things. Yes, they are interested. They invest in hydrogen technologies. So from refinery industry, from the chemical industry point of view, it is very important to have technologies which allows to produce hydrogen from renewables, because from the regulatory point of view, RED III directive, those companies are obliged to produce 32% of the hydrogen in 2030 from renewables. So these duties are very, very important for those companies. They try to do it, but I'm afraid that those goals are unrealistic. So when you look around the EU companies, probably this goal won't be achieved in any country.
Interesting. What about hydrogen as a energy storage as compared to batteries, for instance?
Yeah, it's a good question. So we can say that in every tank with hydrogen now, which is used in every car, which is used in every fueling station, is a energy storage. Yes, so it exists, we can say, but probably you mean the situation in which we use hydrogen as a energy storage for a long period of time, and those projects are in minority. So they are not so common because of the fact of the efficiency which you mentioned previously. So generally, in Poland, we have a good conditions and big potential when it comes to the storage of the energy in the hydrogen, because we have salt caverns underground in which we now put oil and gas, and it can be also used for the hydrogen. But the main issue is that you have a lot of hydrogen first. Yeah, so I think when you compare to the batteries, that it is easier to use batteries nowadays for storage. But the problem with the batteries is that you can do it only in a short period of time. Yes, hours or days. Yes, but if you want to storage your energy for the next winter, the hydrogen is a good solution. But when we return to those problems which we mentioned, efficiency is expensive technology, so it is better to do it in a different technology than hydrogen. The storage in the hydrogen probably will appear on a mass scale. It will appear in the next steps.
Is it possible that hydrogen could eventually replace natural gas, for instance? If we talk about infrastructure, there's a vast network of pipelines.
Not exactly. So
No.
They cannot be substitutes. Yeah. So the problem with the hydrogen is that its energy density is quite low. So generally, we can say that you need 3 times much more space to put the same amount of the energy. Yes, so you cannot expect that you go with the hydrogen with the natural gas pipeline, because you do not receive enough amount of the energy. So there are also some technical problems with hydrogen can destroy the infrastructure. Yes, so the infrastructure can be prepared in a special way. So we are discussing something what is called repurposing. Yeah, so you have to adjust, you have to prepare the current infrastructure, natural gas infrastructure, to be used for the hydrogen. And at the end of the Excel and your economic calculation, you very often you get to the point that it is better to build the separate infrastructure than adjust this one which you use. There's also a story of blending hydrogen with the natural gas, right, to have some small fraction, 2-3%. It is possible, but to a very small number. Right. Yes, if you do it in if you put 20-30% of the hydrogen, it changes a lot in the gas industry, we can say.
And is Poland experimenting with this?
Yeah, on the R&D basis, there is a lot of experiments and projects related to that. But the problem is to make it commercial. Yeah? Yeah. So, and as I said, the technology to some extent is a problem, but we should not put it on the first side, because legislative regulatory environment should be also ready, and we should mention it, highlight it again. It is also important to be ready to finance this technology, yes, because it's not so.
So long story short, we're still a long way from the mass hydrogen economy.
Yeah, but we have to teach this technology, learn this technology, and to try it. Yeah, so we are at the beginning of this race.
Okay, well, it's good to be somewhere. I'd like to thank you very much, Grzegorz Tchorek, Deputy Director at the Institute of Power Engineering. Thank you so much for being my guest. Appreciate it. And that concludes the Bottom Line for today. I was your host, Don Arleth, bringing you the best of the regional business Monday through Friday at 5:10 CET on TVP World. In the meantime, for the latest in regional business, follow us on X and on tvpworld.com. That's all for now. Thanks for joining us, and goodbye.